championship game. Of course, the Trojans trying for back-to-back state titles. We'll have more on that game coming up shortly, but right now, John Campbell from KCRG in Cedar Rapids working with us tonight with a very special guest.
A special guest indeed, the governor of our state, Terry Branstad. And Terry, that first game was something else. What'd you think of Whole Western Christian?
Well, they're awesome. Not only are they great outshooters, but they have big men with great agility. Two big guys that were tremendous under the boards and outshooting that was fantastic. I've never seen any high school team that had that kind of well-rounded program, and I understand they've beaten a lot of 3A teams over the year.
That they have. I know you've been coming down to the tournament for many years. It seems like the kids and teams just do get better and better, doesn't it?
Well, when I was in high school, you didn't see kids that were 6'7" that had that kind of an agility. They of course they also had great depth. They played a lot of guys in that ball game. In fact, they cleared the bench, but they had about 10 people that played about like the Iowa Hawkeyes is what the way they play.
They did. I think they proved they were #1 tonight. Let's talk about some trips you have coming up. And #1, you're going to Chicago tomorrow?
That's right. Tomorrow night, my wife and I have the honor of participating in a dinner honoring Lech Walesa from Poland. He's visiting the United States, and of course there's a large Polish population in Chicago. The state of Iowa established an Iowa International Foundation to encourage trade, and they're very interested in investment and trade with the United States. And so it's going to be a great honor. More than any other person, he probably had led the effort to overthrow communism in Eastern Europe. And he's a great leader of our time, and I'm really honored to be able to get to meet him and talk about the opportunity for Iowa companies to work in Poland and establish trade contacts there.
So more than just the social stuff.
It is. Really, he's here to encourage investments and trade with Poland, and I think there's some great opportunities there, not only Poland, but all of Eastern Europe, and we've established an Iowa International Trade Foundation to take advantage of those opportunities and encourage trade and Iowa companies to invest in that part of the world.
After that, I believe you are going on to Washington. You're a member of the National Professional Teaching Standards Board. What's that about?
Well, the National Professional Teaching Standards Board is a group of education and business leaders from throughout the United States that's working on improving education. And we're establishing a board certification for experienced quality teachers that would give them an opportunity to receive recognition in the teaching profession they never received before. I'm very excited about this. We hope by 1993 to begin giving, this is going to be a voluntary program for experienced teachers, and it's more than just a test. It's something that's going to be really a way to demonstrate our outstanding teachers and hopefully thereby improve the teaching profession.
Governor, thank you very much for stopping by and talking to us. Have a nice time in Chicago.
I'm delighted to be here at the state tournament. Thank you.
Okay, Governor Branstad, our guest, back to you, Larry.
Okay, John, 3 champions have already been crowned. Last night, of course, Applington won in Class A and New Pond in 1A, and tonight, Whole Western Christian with a 90-67 victory over Cedar Rapids Regis wraps up the 2A championship. Coming up, a game that has the potential, Gary, I would think, to be a classic.
Well, I think it is. I think it's going to be a better game than a lot of people think, although Ames High School comes here and they're on a real roll. There hasn't anybody come within 20 points of them in the tournaments.
Well, you talk about peaking at the right time.
Exactly. That's when you want to do it, right down to the end. And we've seen in the NCAA play, some teams have played great early, but have fallen off at the end and went by the wayside.
Well, there were 16 teams that began the competition this week in Class 2A in the 3A tournament. Let's take a look at those teams that were eliminated prior to this evening's competition. We'll be back at Veterans Auditorium in just a moment.
This is a TPD, temporary price decline. It's another way Hy-Vee brings you low prices. Every week we get manufacturer's allowances on hundreds of products. then we pass these lower prices on to you in the form of TPDs. Watch for TPDs. They're a sign of low prices all day, every day at Hy-Vee.
Where there's a helpful smile
And low prices.
in every aisle.
These days, it's not unusual to see farmers back in school.
This place sure looks a lot smaller.
Maybe you just got a lot bigger.
They're learning how to apply crop protection chemicals in the safest ways possible.
Remember when the coach made us all get crew cuts?
Right before the prom.
Some things may have changed since these farmers were in the classroom, but learning to protect the environment is something they know will never go out of style.
I suppose you're going to want to borrow my nose again.
Brought to you on behalf of the American farmer by the makers of Dual Herbicide.
The 3A title game still to come, but right now let's go back to John Campbell.
Larry, thank you very much. Back here at courtside at Betts Auditorium. My guest now is Jenny Stitt from the marketing department of Norwest Banks. And Norwest Banks is very interested, obviously, in high school sports.
Yes, we're very interested. We sponsor the $1,000 Sportsmanship Awards that are being given away at the tournament today.
Tell me a little bit about those. That's something else, $1,000 to each class. Is that correct?
That's correct. We're giving away 6 scholarships. Each one is worth $1,000. And we're giving them to the team in each division that displays the best sportsmanship.
What is the thinking behind this?
Well, we believe that sportsmanship is very, very important, both on and off the basketball court, and it's just our way of recognizing those teams.
Have you noticed that the Iowa fans in the schools are pretty good sports down here?
Outstanding. And I can't believe the participation from everybody who's shown up from all over the state. It's really good to see.
Not only are you involved in the state tournament, I understand you're involved with the Iowa games, too.
Yes, we'll be a gold sponsor this year for our 4th year in the row, so that's an event that we're very, very proud to be a part of.
You must feel that this is good public relations for Norwest.
Well, it is good public relations, but it goes a little deeper than that, too. It's our way of supporting Iowans, and if you'll notice, that's been our emphasis in most of our involvement in the state.
And I take it this support will grow or at least continue.
It will definitely continue.
Jenny, thank you very much for being our guest.
Thank you, John.
Hey, Jenny Stitt from Norwest Banks, our guest here at halftime of Betts Auditorium as we await the start of the 3A game. Larry?
Well, John, we're certainly looking forward to it, aren't we, Gary Thompson? This has all the makings. Ames against East Waterloo of, as we said a moment ago, a real classic.
Well, there are two teams that like to press and getting up and down the floor. We'll see, I don't think you're going to see Ames High alter anything, the success they had. I'm interested to see if East Waterloo and Steve McGraw, their coach, if he alters anything as far as pressing or really pushing the ball up the floor.
Of course, the game also showcases two of the outstanding players in the state. And first of all, for Ames, Fred Hoiberg had a performance yesterday against North that was truly incredible.
Well, it certainly was. See on there right now, 44 points in a ball game, and he can do it inside or outside. He had 12 rebounds in the game. Here he goes from the outside to signal already up for 3 points, and boom. I think he had 4 of those 3-point shots. Just a tremendous individual performance by him. Holds all of Ames' scoring records by now. Here you see he gets away, goes up on the inside, and watch this. He's got springs in his legs and just stuffs it home.
He's averaged 29 points a game during the regular season and also hit 8.7 rebounds. Everybody expected Hoiberg to play well for Ames in this tournament. Now, there's been a surprise as far as Ames is concerned. Who else is providing some punch?
Well, and that young man you're looking at is Seth Anderson, a 6'1 junior on the team, and he's got 42 points. He's had 2 career-high games for him, back-to-back, 20 and then 22. And his teammate, Fred Hoiberg, says it best. He said, Seth Anderson has been the key to our team the last half of this season.
Very little question there. For Ames, their 17th state tournament appearance. Only Davenport Central and Marshalltown have more. The Little Cyclones already own 5 championships, and only Davenport Central has more there. So some great tradition at Ames High School for Wayne Clinton. Now, on the other hand, East Waterloo trying to do something that's not been done since 80 and 81, and that's win a back-to-back 3A championship. They have an outstanding performer in Rodney Wallacan.
Well, it's success enough just to get back here to defend your championship. Rodney Wallacan has done an excellent job. He's kept his club in both games with outstanding performances. 24 points against Bettendorf and then 36 against Kemper when he's 15 for 24 from the field. He's a tremendously talented kid. He's mainly inside player, but he can range out to 15 to 17 feet.
Wallacan obviously will have to play well for East Waterloo tonight. Is there somebody else that you think might be a key player?
Well, I think that player that has to step forward is Andre Galloway. He's a second-team all-conference Big 8 performer. He struggled in this tournament. He's only 2 for 14, but that's not indicative of his play. He's a good shooter, averages almost 10 points a game, but in these first 2 contests, he's only had 7 points. And against Ames, I think he's going to have to step out and score some more points.
Ames coming in with a record of 20-3. They have won their last 10 ball games. And East Waterloo with a record of 20-4. 4 losses by a total of 14 points, and 2 of those losses occurred in the first 3 games. Let's go back to courtside. And John Campbell, how do you see the matchup of this one between East Waterloo and Ames?
Well, I'll tell you what, gentlemen, I saw Ames yesterday, and they looked mighty impressive out there. I think East Waterloo has its work cut out, but East Waterloo has great quickness, and that can change ball games around. If they can keep this thing close, if they can avoid an early blowout like we saw in the first game tonight, I think East Waterloo has a shot, but they've got to keep it close early. They can't fall behind.
You remember East Waterloo here from a year ago, John, and even though the personnel for the most part has changed, is there some kind of a confidence that comes with playing in a championship game?
Well, I think so. They've been here before. Like you said, they were in the big one last year. They won it last year. They know what it takes to get the job done, and it was a tough job against City High. It went overtime before they won. So this team knows how to win ball games. Sometimes they don't do it real pretty, but they're going to have a tough task tonight against a very impressive-looking Ames team.
We're going to see some outstanding individual matchups, John, and I know that's always something fun to watch, but from a team concept, you have to feel both teams are not about to change what they've done to get to this point.
I would doubt that. You have to go with what got you here. And East, of course, as we said, has the quickness. They'll throw the press on, I would guess. Ames comes at you so many ways. Yesterday we saw them put the press on very successfully, have a lot of layups, and just blow out their opponents. So it's going to be a tough assignment.
We'll look forward to your comments as this 3A championship game gets underway. And we'll be back with the starting lineups after this word from your local station.
The 1991 Iowa Boys State Basketball Tournament is brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. Test drive his full line of quality cars from Hyundai. Yes, Hyundai.
March is Hyundai savings time at your Hyundai dealer. And there's never been a better time to get big savings on every 91 Sonata in stock. Save on a roomy, powerful Sonata V6 with 4-speed automatic stereo and more room and power than Ford Taurus. With rebates as high as $1,500 and prices as low as $10,420. It's a big car for less than many small cars. See your Hyundai dealer. It could be the smartest move you make all year. Sale ends April 3rd.
The farmers of farmland have some new ideas about farming because the people of America have some new ideas about eating. And the food you want is the food we produce. Food that's leaner, lower in salt, healthier. From the farmers who own farmland. Better farming, better food.
Sunday, Kelly wants to be Miss Weenie Tot.
My little girl, the symbol of this country's superiority in chemically treated food?
It's fierce competition for big prizes.
Bringing home those little weenies to dear old Dad.
Maybe Daddy can share these little weenies with Mommy.
Kelly, Queen of the Weenies, Married with Children, Sunday.
Ames rated number 4 by the Register, number 3 by Associated Press. East Waterloo rated number 5 by the Register, number 6 by Associated Press. Let's look at how these teams got to this point, to this 3A championship game. And Gary, you talked about it a moment ago. For Ames, it has been a breeze.
Well, it really has been a waltz. Their closest games were 20 points, which happened back in the district tournament. They had 2 20-point games, and then from then on, it's been all downhill. And the blowout with North Des Moines, that surprised, I think, everybody by that score.
It certainly did. Now, for East Waterloo, things have been a lot tighter.
Yes, it has. And they beat 3 teams 3 times on the way to getting here. One of them was Mason City that they beat in the final game, 63-62. They played 2 excellent ball clubs there in Bettendorf and Carroll Kemper. 2 clubs that shoot the ball and were well balanced and really made them fight to come away with wins.
What should we look for in terms of keys as we look at the team comparisons?
Well, you know that Ames High wants to get off to a good start. Every game they've been getting out tough, and so their pressure defense is going to be a key. I don't see too much difference right there in those team comparisons. The one thing that stands out is the free throwing of Waterloo East, and that could be troublesome for them if it's a tight ball game.
So the stage is set. The defending champs from East Waterloo take on the Little Cyclones from Ames. We mentioned the 17th state tournament appearance for Ames, but the Trojans no strangers either. They have been here 13 times, won last year and also won it back in '74. So they're going for their third straight title, state title, and Ames going for their sixth state championship. Should be lots of electricity in the crowd as we get ready to watch this 3A title game. Now let's go for the lineups. Here's Don Euchre.
It's time for basketball. This is the Class 3A Championship. The visitor on the scoreboard from Ames, the Little Cyclones. The home team on the scoreboard from Waterloo East, the Trojans. And now let's meet the reserves for the Little Cyclones from Ames. Number 21, Kim Legg. Number 31, Bona Luke. Number 33, Alex Garn. Number 53, Pete Fretz. Number 11, Bryce Freeman. Number 15, Ryan Carver. Number 35, Brian Coffey. Number 43, Mark Milliman. Number 51, Kevin Waller. And number 55, Eric Warmey. The assistant coaches are Bud Legg, John Waltz, and Vance Downs. And now for Waterloo East, the reserves. Number 42, Tyrone Williams. Number 10, Cedric Robinson. Number 44, Brandon Boniface. Number 11, Justin Little. Number 15, Chris Wise. Number 41, Adonis Smith. Number 43, Travis Montgomery. Number 45, Craig Roby. Number 51, Bobby Wright. Number 53, Chris Hamlet. And assistant coach, Brian Jones. And now, here are your starting lineups. For Ames, at forward, wearing number 23, a 6'5" senior, Nathan Cook. For Waterloo East, wearing number 32, a 6'2" junior, Rodney Wallakin. Forward for Ames, wearing number 41, a 6'4" senior, Fred Hoiberg. For Waterloo East, at forward, wearing number 34, a 5'11" senior, Kendrick McGee. At center for Ames, wearing number 45, a 6'8" senior, Rob Kane. At center for Waterloo East, wearing number 22, a 6'2" senior, Tellis Scott. At guard for Ames, wearing number 25, a 6'1" junior, Seth Anderson. At guard for Waterloo East, wearing number 12, a 5'9" junior, Andre Galloway. At guard for Ames, wearing number 13, a 5'11" senior, Mike Bergen. And at guard for Waterloo East, wearing number 14, a 5'10" senior, Tim Eilers. The head coach for Ames is Wayne Clinton. The head coach for Waterloo East, Steve McGraw. Ladies and gentlemen, the officials for this contest. Your referee, Randy Bruns of Waverly. The umpire is Charles Britton of Waverly. And the bench official, John Lowry of Cedar Rapids.
Gary, the Trojans are not able to start Tyrone Williams. We don't know how much he'll get to play. He had been a starter, averaging 12 points a game. How much will this hurt the Trojans?
Well, that's a real factor because they're not a big ball club, and Ames has the size. Now they have to come with Tim Eilers, a 5'10" senior, and they push Kendrick McGee, a 5'11" guard, down to a forward spot. He's also their second leading rebounder, so that's a real loss for Steve McGraw.